G'day folks. I thought I'd do a video today while I'm sitting on the beach here in Patong in Phuket, Thailand. And I've got 10 safety tips for riding a motorcycle around anywhere in Phuket, but definitely here in Patong. So we'll start off with number 1. The first rule, the first tip for hiring a motorbike in Thailand is don't hire one if you can't ride one. Now, nearly every place here will rent you a motorbike whether you have a license or not, but don't hire one if you can't ride one, because you'll crash it, you'll hurt yourself, you'll hurt whoever's on the back, and you'll hurt whoever you crash into if you crash into someone. So don't just get one and ride it and think it's like riding a push bike, because you'll hurt yourself. More importantly, you'll hurt somebody else who's going about their business and are completely innocent. I do have an older video that I'll link in this video of when somebody crashed into me a few years ago, and the consequences from that and how that happened. So, but rule number 1, don't hire one if you can't ride a bike. Rule number 2, don't speed. 90% of people here, maybe not 90, heaps of people speed. Don't speed. Don't be one of those morons that fly around 100 miles an hour, because if you crash, you're going to crash twice as bad and hurt yourself twice as bad, and you'll hurt whoever you crash into twice as bad. The thing about speeding, this will go into my next tip, tip number 3, but still, tip number 2, the thing about speeding is the faster you go, the longer it's going to take to stop when someone does something ridiculous in front of you, and they will. Tip number 3 is assume that every person that you see in front of you is going to do something ridiculous, and not just a little ridiculous. Assume that every person on the road, whether it's on a car or on a motorbike or walking or standing on the footpath, assume all of them are going to do the dumbest thing you have ever seen or could ever imagine, because that's what happens time and time and time again. Some examples I've seen are people going fast with no helmet. I've seen people riding while they're looking on the phone. I've seen people pull out without looking. I've seen people walk out on the road without looking. I've seen cars drive out on the road without looking. I've seen people, motorbikes and cars driving down the wrong side of the road, fast, in the dark. It is just insane. Whatever is the dumbest thing you can imagine happening, think somebody's going to do that, and they will, and then they'll do something even dumber. So ride slow so you can stop instantly and assume everyone is going to do something ridiculous, because they will. I saw just today or yesterday in the rain a girl riding a motorbike while texting on the phone, holding the phone in her left hand with 2 people on the back. Nobody was wearing a helmet, and if you can imagine that, they've got their phone in their left hand, which is the back brake. They've got their throttle and their front brake on their right hand, so they're not paying attention. If they need to stop quick, they won't be able to, but the only brake the driver had is the front brake. You're gonna lock the front up and crash and hurt everybody. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 now. Don't ride a motorbike at night. If you want to stay safe, don't ride a motorbike at night. If you do, and most people do, be so careful, because at night everyone is just as dangerous. The people do the same dumb thing, the riders do the same dumb thing, the drivers do the same dumb things. The tourists do the same dumb things. Everything is just as bad, but at night you can't see as well. So don't ride at night, or if you do, be so careful. Because again, I've seen people flying down the roads on the wrong side of the road at night in a motorbike with no helmet on. It's just so dangerous. And so many bikes and cars don't have lights, they don't have blinkers, they don't have nothing, they just drive them. Just be so careful. So don't ride at night. If you do, be very careful and assume that, you know, everyone's going to be just the worst drivers, the worst pedestrians, and at night you can't see as well. And they'll drive around too, the ones that do have lights. They can be flying around up and down the hills, up and down the streets on the wrong side of the road with their lights on high beam. So you can't see because you're blinded by the lights. So just be super careful. The next tip, tip number 5, rent a new scooter. Don't rent an old crappy one. Don't rent a medium one. Spend a little bit more money and rent the newest and the best scooter you can get, because by doing this you're probably going to have better brakes, you're probably going to have a better service bike. You should, but probably, and maybe not, but check, you should have blinkers and headlights and tail lights. So don't even worry about something old. Just rent the best bike you can get, the newest bike, because it's probably, hopefully, going to be the most safest. There are bikes here that are just so unroadworthy that it'd shock you, and they're riding around too, and they're getting rented to people. So rent a new bike. The next tip, don't ride in the rain. Everything is exactly the same as the previous tips, except now the roads are extremely slippery. People do ride a little bit slower, the locals, because they know the road is slippery, but the road is so slippery. Nearly all the roads have steel grates on them, steel mesh grates. Don't ride on those. They are slippery as slippery, and you'll just come off straight away because you can't steer and you can't brake, and they're everywhere. They're on corners, they're on straights, so don't ride in the rain. If you do, be so careful and keep off the metal grids completely. The next one. Not many people do this, but wear shoes and wear gloves. You want shoes because if someone does something dumb, including yourself, and you've got to put your foot down quick, or someone runs into your foot because they're riding too close when you stopped at the traffic lights, you don't want thongs on your feet. You don't want, I don't know if you can see those, you don't want shoes like this. You want shoes that are going to stay on your feet. Wear shoes, wear gloves. The reason I say wear gloves, because if you fall off, if someone runs into you, if you slide off in the wet, you want gloves on your hands, so it's your hands on the asphalt, not your skin. The next tip, don't get on the back of a motorbike. Don't be a pillion passenger. Don't be getting dinked around on the back of a motorbike if the driver can't ride. If they don't have a license, if they don't have a motorbike license, if they can't ride a motorbike, don't get on the back. If they ride too fast, don't get on the back. If they're just dangerous, don't get on the back, because when they crash, you're on the back. If they're going too fast and they crash, you're on the back. So don't get dinked around on the back of a motorbike with a rider who's a moron. And they're everywhere. Even a motorbike taxi people, motorbike taxis are usually okay, but if you get a motorbike taxi and he's too fast and he's scary, tell him to stop. Or at the traffic lights when he stops, just get off and don't get back on. And that goes to the same with your friend. If he's crazy and dangerous, get off and don't get back on with him. You want to be safe as you can, and getting on the back of someone who can't ride or is a moron is not a safe way to travel, and you'll get hurt sooner or later. The next tip, this is, you see this everywhere, and I don't think it's a good idea. People riding around, and this is usually tourists to be honest, but maybe not, but don't ride around holding a baby. That is common sense. Just just don't do that. You can't get a helmet for a baby. I don't even know where to start on what's wrong with that. If you have an accident, you're holding a baby, or you have a small child sitting in front of you on the motorbike, I wouldn't do it. Hire a taxi, walk, get a free shuttle bus. Sure, a motorbike's fun, but I wouldn't ride around holding your baby. If you crash, that thing is going to be flying down the road at 100 miles an hour, because you will be as well. So you can imagine why that's not a good idea, to ride a motorbike while holding a baby. Even people have them strapped to their front. You know, you can get those backpacky things and the baby sits in the front. Don't do that. You have to think. You just have to think. Don't do that. That's not a good idea. And the final tip, again, all these are common sense, but I see them everywhere. Don't ride a motorbike without a helmet. It's just ridiculous. Don't do that. When you rent a bike, they'll give you a little helmet. Wear it the whole time. But my opinion is wear that helmet for the minimal amount of time, and then go and buy a brand new helmet, full face, and one that fits your head. You don't want an open face helmet, because if you fall off and smash the front of your face, there's zero protection. You may as well not have one on. Don't wear a helmet that's the wrong size, because it's not going to be as helpful as it could be. Don't ride around with the strap undone, because then it's going to fly off and be like not wearing a helmet. I bought a new helmet. I'll show you in a minute. I've had it since I've been here, so maybe a month or so, and it cost $40. Because everyone's on a motorbike and there's millions of helmets, they're not expensive. Full face, UV black guard, fits my head good, $40. So for $40, go and buy yourself a brand new full face helmet. It's much better because the sun's not on my face. It's cooler because the heat's not on my face. I don't have to wear sunglasses because the visor's UV and dark. It's just really, really good, and it clips up good. So always wear a helmet. Don't be a dumbass and ride with no helmet. Get one that fits, and go to the shop, the supermarket, and buy a brand new one, full face, for $40. So here is a quick look at the helmet. So this is what they give you when you hire a bike. This is pretty much standard. It's way better than no helmet, but not the best. See, this one, it's too loose. This one's not too bad actually, but it's a little bit too loose for me, and it's the only one they had in the shop. They had different colours and different helmets, but they only seem to have one size. So this is standard, right? That's what they give you, and for $40 you can go to the shop and buy one like this. And this is what I did. So you get your UV tinted screen, which is fantastic in the daytime because it's too hot and bright. You don't have to wear your sunglasses, and you don't get a sunburnt hot face. It's way cooler to have a full face helmet than wear one like this. This is hot as hot because the sun and the wind's on your face. But this one, as I said, was about $40. It fits perfect. If you fall off, hopefully you don't, but if you fall off, you've got all this face protection, you've got the side protection. It probably won't fly off. I'll take it off in case you can't hear me. So you've got all the wind protection, you've got the sun protection, you've got all this front part, so if you fall down the road on your face, all your face is protected. If you fall down the road on your face with this, it'll be like not wearing a helmet, and you'll just bust your face bad. So my advice is go to the shop, buy one like this. This wasn't the dearest and it wasn't the cheapest. It was about in the middle. As I said, $40 thereabouts. There was cheaper ones and there was dearer ones, but this is way better and a fantastic investment. Even if you hire a scooter for a day, I would hire a scooter, go to the supermarket, buy a helmet, and then enjoy myself, because it's way safer. The two options. So they're my tips on how to ride safe as possible in Thailand, in Patong. So I hope you pay attention to them. They're all common sense. You don't have to have me tell you about this, but I see it everywhere, so be very, very careful. And if you're going to ride a motorbike, get one because it's fun. If you want to see my tips on how to hire a motorbike, I've got another video, I'll link that in the description as well, on the do's and don'ts to hiring a bike and where to hire one from and what to look out for. But yeah, they're my tips, so have a good day or a good night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, you can leave a comment if you like, and you'll get new videos every time I upload them. See you soon.